Welcome to Flow 60 minutes. We're going to get into some twists with some options to work strengthen the shoulders, the core, a possibility for inverting either through Shirshasana, supported headstand, or through our Pinchamayurasana, our forearm stand. We are going to start laying down supine on our backs. Allow your shoulder blades to tuck under and the toes to fall out. Thinking of this as sort of like your first Shavasana of the day. Allow the eyes to close. Allow the breath to deepen. Notice any emotions, any feelings that are kind of moving through the mind or have been lately, without labeling them as good or bad, just labeling them as passing emotions. Recognizing yourself as the person that feels the emotions, not as the emotions themselves. Begin to invite in an openness in your practice to welcome emotion. Some poses, some things we do may bring really happy emotion. Others may even bring some frustration, some struggle. That's okay. Welcome all that comes and then let it go. Feeling the body soften. Using your exhales to melt the body into the mat. As you melt into the mat with the exhale, feel yourself beginning to drop into your practice. Setting aside the burdens of everyday life as much as you can. Letting your focus instead be on your body and on your mind. Even on the emotions. Begin to drum through the fingers and wiggle through the toes. Reach the arms up overhead and get a nice good morning stretch, getting as long as you can get. And then let's find a side body stretch here. The feet begin to walk over to the right, the hands and the top of the head over to the right, finding banana pose, Bananasana. The left foot can cross over the right. You can grab the left hand with the right hand and give a gentle pull, helping to open up through the left side of the body. Maintain steady breath here. Keeping the eyes closed or open, yogi's choice. Walking the feet back through center and then over to the other side, finding our banana towards the left, so that means the right side of the body is opening up. Use the breath to welcome the space that you're creating. To continue softening the back body, to soften the face. If Ujjayi breath is in your practice, I'd like you to begin utilizing that now. Using it during the entire practice, as much as you can remember to. Remembering to use our pranayama is sometimes one of the hardest things about our practice. So try to be present. Back through center. One more good stretch, and then hug the knees into the chest. Nice tight squeeze, and we're going to take a twist. Drop the knees over towards the left. Gaze is either up or towards the right. Allow the arms to fall out to the sides, either to a T or to goalpost arms, bending at the elbows 90 degrees. Just starting our practice with the different movements of the spine. Beginning to wake the core up now. Turn your head up towards the sky and use your left leg to press the right leg back up so the knees are at center. And then slowly drop the knees over towards the right. Gaze shifts towards the left. And back through center. Again, hug the knees to the chest. This time tuck the chin, rounding the back of the body. You can even grab onto the feet if you can reach, and then pull the feet in, pulling the heels in towards the glutes. Tuck the chin and bring the crown of the head towards the knees, making a little egg type shape with your body. Really rounding the entire spine. And then begin to melt back down, feet flat on the floor. Tuck the shoulder blades beneath you. And on your inhale, I'd like you to press into the feet, squeeze your glutes, and lift your pelvis up towards the sky for bridge pose. Exhale, lower down. Just tapping the sacrum down, keeping space between the lumbar spine and the mat. So you can slide how I am your arm in that space. Inhale to lift and squeeze. Exhale to lower, tap. Moving with the breath, inhaling to lift and squeeze. Exhale, find resistance on the way down. Use your lower abdominal muscles to find the resistance. And pressing up. And lowering down. And lifting up. Staying up. Squeeze the buns, interlace the fingers beneath you if you can. Maybe even tucking the shoulder heads beneath you. Giving a little extra lift to the pelvis. Squeeze to the buns, press down through the heels. And then let the low ribs settle a bit. Feel the shins pulling back as the thighs lift up towards the sky. And perhaps you even lift up the heels to find a little bit more of a back bend here. Lots of activation in the posterior chain. Release the hands, roll the spine down bit by bit. Hug the knees to the chest, lift the chin. Begin to rock and roll up and down, coming all the way forward until you're in a seated position. And then just get the wiggles out, whatever that is. So maybe rocking side to side, maybe taking some side body stretches. Kind of guiding yourself through this. Moving again through those 6 different directions of the spine. So side bending, twisting, and then we are rounding and lifting through the heart. So flexion and extension through the spine, just a couple times, moving through each of these different planes of direction. Then bring the knees back, find your table. And then press the hips from right to left. Step the right foot all the way back and press through the heel, stretching the back of the calf. If it's helpful, you can tuck the left toe, press even harder through the back heel, and let the left knee hover. Keep the core firm and tight. And then lower down and release. Right knee down, left toes back, pressing back through the heel, perhaps pressing back more, letting that left heel press back so much the right knee lifts, core is firm. Spread your fingers. Knees come down. Good. Sway the hips side to side. Maybe make big circles with the hips if you need to. You can do some wrist love here, changing the direction of the fingers, orientation of the palm up and down. Again, we want to stretch the wrist flexors and extensors to the hands because we're going to be using them a bit. Not as much as normal. We'll be on our forearms. decent amount, but still, let's work the hands. We're going to begin to find engagement in our shoulders, first in our table. So softly wrap the eyes of the elbows forward. And then find a little bit of a bend. So we're not hyperextending. Notice how many of us can hyperextend if we really try and straighten. We don't want that. We want a neutral elbow. From here, I want you to push into the mat, protract through the shoulders, and push your sternum as far away from the floor as you can. Now we're not rounding and finding a cat-like back here. We have a nice straight spine. We're just pushing the chest away, okay? And then without bending the elbows, we're going to kind of hang into the shoulders and allow the chest to come towards the floor. Belly stays firm. We're not allowing that tailbone to flare up. Again, neutral, hugged in spine. Pressing away, lowering down. Can you connect this movement to your breath? Notice how this feels as we glide. This can be called, it's a type of shoulder flossing. So it's allowing the connective tissue in the shoulders to glide past each other. It's helping to lubricate that as well as give ourselves some muscle memory for how it feels to fully protract and press away and create space and strength in the shoulder girdle. So one more dip, one more press, and then do some wrist love, okay? You can do this on hands and knees with fingers back, palms up, maybe palms up, fingers in, rocking side to side. Or if it feels good, get a toe stretch. Tuck the toes, sit back on the heels, roll through the wrists. Do your chicken wing stretch. Massage one with the opposite hand. Flick water off the fingertips. Whatever it is that brings life back to the hands. And then come back to table. Step the right foot all the way back. Step the left foot all the way back. If you'd like to modify, knees down. But we're going to do the same thing in our plank pose now, trying to keep that nice straight spine, belly pulled in, collarbones spread apart. Lower the chest just a little without bending the elbows. Press the floor away, protract. And so little dips here. Sternal dips. Just dipping the sternum towards the floor, maybe feeling a little bit of shake, a little bit of effort here as we work the front of the body as well as the back of the body, the arms, the shoulders. One more. Good. Knees down, hips back, child's pose, Balasana. And from here you can rock the forehead side to side, the hips side to side. Again, maybe doing some wrist therapy. And then spread the fingers far apart and reach them as far forward as you can. Tuck your toes. Notice if by tucking the toes you have a little more space to reach and crawl the hands forward. Spreading the fingers, gripping into the mat. You're going to push your hands away. You're going to push down through your heels as you lift your hips up and straighten the legs to go right into your downward facing dog. Just like that. Notice if the heels are way lifted, if the knees are way bent, that's just fine. Take some movement, maybe pedal out. But maintain the press of the hands away, lifting the tail up towards the sky as much as you can, really growing a long spine. Feel the low belly draw up and in. Maintaining your breath. Ujjayi breath. If you're not sure what that is, which I think you do, just breathe breathe in and out through the nose. Steady, complete. Eyes forward, and then get your feet forward any way you like. Once you get there, inhale, half lift, whatever that looks like for you, and then fold forward. Bend the knees, press down through the heels, and then lift your seat up. Allow the knees to stay bent, cross at the arms, let the upper body go slack, completely relaxed, heavy. Let your head be the bowling ball that it is. No support from the neck. You can even move the head left to right, forward and backward. But push down through the heels. Maybe even try and pull the feet apart isometrically on your mat and feel your glutes begin to fire. Your hamstrings begin to work. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, plank pose. Knees down, child's pose. Inhale, table. Exhale, down dog. It's a vinyasa option. We'll do it one more time. So inhale, table. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, table, maybe even coming through table, finding that cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Downward facing dog, lift the hips. Pedaling out. Eyes forward, feet forward any way you like. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Plant the hands, right foot steps back, right knee comes down, reach the arms up. Anjaneyasana, low crescent lunge. Then take some time here. It's our first time today in this shape, so move around if you'd like. You can bring the hips back and forward, noticing what you're feeling and where. Noticing if any particular positioning of the body begins to allow other emotions to arise with it. Maybe emotions of, I don't know if I like this, of doubt, or ooh, this feels really good, I'm happy. And just notice what comes up. Maybe there's a position of the body that you need to stay in for a little longer. Maybe you need some props to support that. Welcome those emotions. Really leaning. Maybe reaching back. Allow yourself to recognize emotions as part of our transformation. Every day. They help us grow. So however you've spent this Anjaneyasana, this low crescent lunge, I'd like you to plant your hands now to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, left foot back, vinyasa option. You can do that child's pose table, child's pose down dog, or you can shift forward, lower down halfway or all the way. Press into the hands, lift the heart, Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, lift the hips, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Move through the head, let it be heavy and relaxed. Press through the hands, lengthen through the spine, lift through the tailbone, heavy through the heels. Can you pull your feet apart from one another? Eyes forward, feet forward any way you like. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Planting the hands. The left foot steps back this time. Left knee down. Rising up. Anjaneyasana. Just on the other side. Again, welcoming what comes to you. If you need to move a bit, sometimes we don't want to be still. Other times, what we need is stillness. So recognize your needs. We're just trying to warm up the body to get ready to get into some other things. Plant the hands down, tuck the back toe, lift the knee, right foot back, your vinyasa option. You can also skip it and go straight to your downward facing dog. This time lift the right leg up into the air, get a good stretch in that down dog split. And then step the right foot all the way forward. Press down through the feet as you hinge up through the upper body, high crescent lunge. Pressing down through the three corners of the feet, the heel, the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, lifting through the arch. Heavy through the pelvis. Take a chest opener. You can cactus the arms or interlace the fingers behind the low back. Now, hands to heart center or hands overhead, slowly drop the left knee down. And begin to straighten through the right leg, finding your Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Rock forward, plant the left hand, reach the right arm up, take a twist. Now, reach that right arm to the back of the room, lean forward, and begin to bend through the back knee, taking a quadricep stretch. If you need to use a strap, a belt, whatever you have. Breathing into the places in the body that you feel stress or sensation. Softly landing that foot down. Planting the hands, lifting that back knee, pressing into the left hand, rolling onto the left side of the left foot, and beginning to either grab onto the right foot or to just bring the right hand up and bring the right foot back. You're welcome to use your hand to steady yourself, just moving into a side plank. If you'd like to modify, instead of bringing the left knee down like this, what I'd like you to do is let the right foot be forward like this. Press into that right foot. So you would go from here to here. If you're in your full side plank, making your way back to regular plank, everyone meeting in plank, option for vinyasa, or to skip it, meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts and stretches. Let it feel good, get long. Step the foot all the way forward. Press down through the feet first so that the fingers can just hover. And then you sweep the arms up, steady, strong. Heavy through the feet, light through the chest and the arms, finding some sort of a chest opener, front of the heart opener. Welcoming the breath as an ally. helping you move in your practice. Slowly dropping the right knee down. And then moving, straightening the left leg, Ardha Hanumanasana. If you'd like, you can move back and forth. Allow there to be a nice stretch behind the left leg. Focusing on your breath, sensations, emotions of the body and mind. Bending through the knee, planting the right hand, lifting the left arm, taking a twist. Just a low twisted lunge. And then reaching to the back of the room, back of your space. Beginning to bend through the knee as you lean forward so that you're not on your patella, you're just above it, okay? Grabbing onto what you can. If you need to inch that front foot forward, or you can place your hand on a block, you can do that. Support the body. Breathing into sensations that you may be feeling in the hip flexors, maybe the front of the right thigh, in the left leg, in the chest as you open up and spread the collarbones apart. Keeping a soft bend in the right arm. Remembering this practice is yours alone. Softly landing that back foot. Planting the hands, really planting through the right hand. So spread the fingers, maybe even step it just a little bit forward so the shoulder is slightly behind the wrist. That's going to help you push that hand away and create that space in the shoulder girdle, that protraction we've discussed. Lifting up the back knee, rocking onto the side edge of the foot. Again, finding your side plank. So that may look like this. It may look like this. Maybe it looks like this. There's all sorts of ways for it to look. Just taking some time enjoying it, feeling strong, and then bringing the hands down. Now instead of moving through vinyasa this time, we're going to lower the left forearm down and then the right forearm down. So now we're in forearm plank. And we're going to shoulder floss here, but in a different way. Instead, we're going to rock forward on tippy toes, rock back. With the breath, forward and back. Belly's drawn in. Back of the neck is long. We're just moving through the shoulders. One more time. Knees down. And then bring the hands and heart forward, puppy pose. So hips are somewhat over the knees, heart is down to the floor. Coming forward, Sphinx pose, elbows under shoulders. Spread the fingers, press into the hands. Pull the elbows back and then pull the arms apart. Heart forward and open. Breathing here. Begin to tuck the chin, tuck the toes, lift the kneecaps, lift the belly button away from the floor, forearm plank. Left hand finds the floor in line with the right elbow. Right hand finds itself on the floor in line with the left. Downward facing dog. Movement, if it would feel good, pedaling out. Maybe dipping through the hips, getting a side body stretch. Taking some time for yourself. Right leg lifts. Little stretch here. Step it forward. Left hand stays planted, right hand lifts. If you'd like to deepen this sensation of twist, bring the left hand to the outside of the right foot, elbow to the outside of the right knee. Guide the right shoulder back. Keep the collarbone spread. We're not letting the left shoulder come forward. There's counter pressure between the outside of the right leg and the outside of the left shoulder. If you'd like to look for a bind here, press down into the feet for stability, and perhaps you find a bind. Maybe not. A nice twist. Coming back so the shoulders are stacked, the arms are straight. Press down into the feet, rise up, Saturn's twist, revolve, reverse. Straighten through the front leg, bend through the front knee, cartwheel the hands down. Right foot back, vinyasa option, or skip it and go to down dog. Give a handful of breaths either way, spend them how you like, whether that's in movement or in your down dog, perhaps in complete stillness. Inhale, lift the left leg. Step it all the way forward. It's time the right hand stays planted and the left hand lifts. Taking the twist. Pulling the left shoulder back as much as you can. Again, to deepen this twist, you can use a block if you'd like. Maybe not. Maybe the hand come to the outside, that left foot, finding counter pressure. As you twist open, perhaps finding the bind, pressing down through the feet once again for that stability that you'll need, dragging them towards each other isometrically. Gaze is down or up. Down is easier on the neck. Bringing the right hand back to the inside of the foot, left arm up into the sky. We're going to press down into the feet, that same stability, and we're going to let our torso lift, Saturn's twist. Arms reaching in opposite directions. Revolve, reverse. Straighten through the front leg. Bend through the front leg. Cartwheel the hands down. Left foot back, vinyasa option, down dog, or child's pose. Taking a few breaths here. One more deep inhale and exhale here. And then all together meeting in downward facing dog. I'd like you to begin to softly bend the elbows. Wrap the eyes of the elbows forward, hug the elbows towards each other, and land the elbows down. You can do this one at a time or together just as I did. We're in our dolphin pose now. You can walk the toes in a bit if you'd like, but find that flare of the tailbone up, that long spine. Pull the low belly up and in. Push, protract through the shoulders, pressing down through the hands, the forearms, keeping space between your chest, your face, and the floor. From here, shoulder flossing, coming forward, tippy toes. Go ahead and look forward, look towards your thumbs. Rocking back, landing the balls of the feet. Rock forward, tippy toes, rock back. As you rock forward, try and maintain that press, just like we did those sternal dips. Space between your chest and the floor. We're not collapsing, there's space. Rock back. One more time, rock forward, rock back, press into the hands. You can do this one at a time or at the same time. Down dog. Breathing here. Inhale, lift the right leg. Now, step the right foot forward halfways, that's it. And then walk the hands back straight through the right leg, coming right into your pyramid pose. If you'd like blocks to make your arms longer, that's an option. Placing the hands and blocks under the shoulders, drawing the right hip back, left hip forward. Maybe they can come to fingertips. Belly's drawn in, slight tuck of the chin so the back of the neck is smooth. And then what I'd like you to do is start bending through that front knee. Walk the hands forward, and then again, wrapping the eyes of the elbows forward and hugging the elbows towards each other. Begin to lean forward and let the forearms come down. From here, maybe let the crown of the head touch. Push into the floor and just lift that left leg. Okay, you may stop here. This may be your drill. Maybe you find a Shirshasana, or maybe you press into your Pincha Mayurasana. Just a fun transition. If you've stayed in this prep pose, no weight in the head, or as least amount as possible. So you're really pressing and protracting into the forearms through the shoulders. If it helps, you can even bend the elbows, making sort of a tripod shape. Bend the right knee even more. Drop the left foot back, and then lift up through the head to exit out, okay? Exit out of it in a way that feels good for you if you're doing that drill. And then come back either to a child's pose, maybe moving from child's pose to cobra, rounding through the back, extending through the back. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Down dog. Left leg lifts. Step it forward halfway. Straighten the left leg, walk the hands back. Left hip back, right hip forward. Feeling a nice stretch here behind the left leg. Then walk the hands forward as you bend the knees, kind of like you're creeping forward, getting the hands as far forward as you can. Your chest is probably resting on the inside or even on the thigh. Forearms down as you lean your weight forward, just like that shoulder flossing we did. Either keeping space between your face and the floor or letting the crown come down, okay? That's the difference between a Shirshasana and a forearm stand, is if the head is on the ground. Keeping your drill here, maybe lifting and tapping the toes, working your hip flexors and low abs, maybe pressing and floating, maybe even just taking little hops like this. Okay, so this time I'm just going to do the drill. Stay with you if you're just doing the drill. This is too much weight on the head. I want you to come right out of it, okay? You should be able, if you're going towards the drill, to push enough into the floor away, creating that space in the shoulder girdle to keep a lot of weight, or keep most, if any, weight out of the head, the cervical spine. We don't want compression. So be careful. Take care of yourself. Do no harm. If you're in your Shirshasana or your Pincha Mayurasana, go ahead and exit that now. It's a good time. And what we're going to do now, we have twisted our bodies. We have gone upside down. We've worked our shoulders. So we're going to go kind of pick your own adventure here. You're either going to find your dolphin, and I'm going to show you some dolphin drills that you're going to do during this time, or you're going to do Shirshasana with some twists using your obliques and counter pressure through which arm you're really pushing through to find stability for some twisted shapes while you're upside down. So first, for those dolphin type drills, forearms down, Feet back, forearm plank. Look back towards the toes, walk the toes in until you're in your dolphin. Lift up through the tailbone. From here, lifting up one leg and then flossing forward. Pressing as much as you can, chest away from the floor, even as you floss forward. And switch legs when you're ready as much as you need to. Building strength in the shoulders, pressing into the floor, strength in the core, okay? You're gonna do that, or you can hold your dolphin pose. Just holding dolphin pose is a lot of work, okay? So don't shortchange yourself thinking, man, I'm just doing these drills, I'm not moving towards the inversion. Like, those drills are the inversion, okay? But you need to be safe. If you are doing the inversion option, gosh, I'm trying to think which is the best way for me to be facing for you to show this. I'm gonna do a couple different angles maybe. Getting into your Shirshasana, I'm gonna say do supported Shirshasana. Before, the one we did was more of a forearm placement. We weren't holding the head. I think it might be helpful to do supported so that you can kind of steer yourself. So I'm going to turn this way, that way you can kind of see what's happening with my shoulders. Sorry for the posterior view. So if you're not already confident and safe in a Shirshasana practice, don't do this. Straight up, I'm telling you no. You can also, if you're like pretty confident, but sometimes you're worried about falling out, you come towards a wall. But with doing these twists, you really need a solid Shirshasana practice, okay? So, hands down, head down, booty up, no weight into the head, okay? So all in the shoulders. You can float up if you'd like. You can kick up gently if you'd like. Either way, getting up. And you have the option first to start with straight legs. You can do your stag legs if you like. I don't really have room with the wall right here. So stag legs are like this. You can do it with bent knees or straight legs, like I said. What you're gonna do is you're gonna begin to rotate to twist your hips towards one direction. And with the opposite shoulder, the opposite side for the upper body, you're gonna press extra hard into the floor. And that's gonna allow stability in your twist. So it looks a little bit different with legs straight versus like stag legs. So for stag legs, what that would look like is something like that. It's hard to do while I talk, but you get the point. So you begin rotating through the hips. You use your obliques to find that twist. And whichever direction you're twisting, you're going to feel the opposite shoulder begin to lift. You've got to protract. You've got to push down away from that to find equilibrium, because it's all about balance and counterbalance. So go ahead and take a minute or two on each side. If you've come into your dolphin and you were doing dolphin that whole time, I want you to come out of your dolphin. And I want you to either find a kneeling pose or child's pose. And I want you to rest. And I want you to reconnect with your breath. Finding your Ujjayi breath, but I want your exhale to be longer than your inhale. I don't want them to match. It's time to start calming the body down for you. If you're inverting, trying those twisted shapes, using the core, using the shoulder girdle, the center line to do so. You have a few more minutes before it's time to cool you down. I'll be honest, doing those drills is harder than doing the inversions. It's a lot more focused energy and effort, so you deserve a little bit of extra time to cool down. Notice if you have any soreness or tension anywhere. Notice emotions that maybe co-arise with that. Noticing if it's because maybe you pushed a little too far, did a little too much, maybe the ego took over. over a bit in your practice, acknowledge it, let it go, and then begin to take care of the body. So that might mean gently self-massaging the shoulders, the neck, maybe through the hips. Just take care of yourself. It's really important. I mentioned earlier that our emotions are, it's the stuff of our transformation. It's what makes it. You know, it's our perceptions, it's our reality. So take care of your reality, your transformation. If you've been upside down, it's time to come down. Let's go ahead and make our way to a seat. And let's find Dandasana, staff pose. Legs are straight in front of us, spine is stacked. If it's hard for you to stack your spine, I'd like you to sit on something to lift your hips and get a little bit of anterior tilt of the pelvis. Hands down to the sides. If you have shorter arms compared to your torso, you can use blocks here, but press into the hands. Shoulder blades together and down the spine, heart forward. Flex the feet so much the heels float off. Pull the low belly in. Firm through the quads, lifting the kneecaps. Deep breaths. Soften the heels down. Reach the arms up. Let's take a forward fold. Losing attachment to where we reach, where we touch. Letting sensation be enough. Going as far as what feels good in both the mind and the body. And rolling back up. Now, if you have extra fire in your practice, if you'd really like to do an arm balance, it's already in your practice. I'm going to say work through Bakasana or Kakasana, your choice, crow or crane pose. Crow pose specifically, if you'd like to transition to a tripod headstand or through a crow to vinyasa, to chaturanga transition. If you need a little bit more fire burnt off or even creative, you can do that. If you are ready for the cool down process, I want you to stay with me because that's what I'm guiding, okay? But again, if you need to burn off some more, go ahead and do more inversions, do your arm balances, do the things your body's asking for. Otherwise, what we're gonna do is find butterfly or Baddha-Konasana, bound angle pose, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Grabbing the ankles, pulling the heart forward, pulling the heels forward, finding a little bit of a wood element through the shoulders and arms. That just means a little bit of resistance or tug, a bit of a hanging feeling. And if you'd like, staying here or letting the heart come forward. Yogi's choice. Heels can be as close to or as far away from the pelvis as you like. Further away is more of a diamond shape. That gives different sensation in the hips. So you can even do both. You know, we can start with the heels really close, really folding forward, try and get the spine as long as you can, knees down. Let it feel good here. Take a few breaths. And then perhaps we work towards our Karmasana. Finding that diamond shape. If you have a block, put your block in front of the feet. Bring the feet together on top of the block. Again, tilt the pelvis forward, fold forward. Maybe the hands can come under the legs. Maybe they can really come under the legs. Maybe you can even begin to walk the hands out towards the sides. Find some counter pressure, the thighs to the backs of the arms, and use that to guide the heart forward and down. Maybe the head can drop beneath the feet. When you're ready, gently, mindfully coming out of this shape. And then as challenging as you'd like to make it on yourself, or as easy as you'd like to make it on yourself, make your way onto your back. If you'd like to work through a very slow Navasana, very slow boat pose, lowering down, you can. You can also just scoot your booty forward and come down, okay? Sometimes we just don't need to make anything harder on ourselves if we don't feel like it. There's a lot of freedom there. What we're gonna do now is, if you have a block or something like a block, we're gonna do supported bridge. So feet press into the earth to lift the hips so that the sacrum can rest on that block. You can stay here. You can stretch the legs forward, making sort of an arch with the pelvis and really letting the hip flexors open up and get long. You can tuck the shoulder blades, let the collarbones spread apart. Maybe the arms cactus out, or even make sort of a W shape. No right or wrong here. From here, we have two options. Well, actually, there's three. You can stay where you are. You can let your soles of your feet come up into the air, find waterfall or supported shoulder stand, just like this. Or you can move the block and find an actual shoulder stand. Now, this takes just a little bit of oomph. Get the hips up, find your low back, your sacrum, bring the elbows in. Firm the core, find that center line, hug the elbows in, press down through the elbows, lift up through the toes. It's important to note that you should not look around like I just did. Chin should be tucked, allowing a nice straight line with the body. From here, you are welcome to hinge at the hips. I think my feet are going to fall out of sight. Just trust that they're still there. Tops of the feet come to the floor. We don't tuck the toes. Okay, we still have a nice long line. This is our plow pose. Halasana. From here, you have the option, if it feels good, if this pose feels good, you can bend the knees and frame the ears with the knees and find ear pressure pose. If you've been working on your Karmasana or working on getting your legs behind your head, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip on how to do that to make it a little more accessible. You're going to find yourself in your plow pose. You're going to widen your knees a bit. You're going to cross at the ankles, okay? You're going to bring your hands through the legs, maybe even holding onto the feet before you cross at the ankles. You're going to pull your knees back so that your shoulders come to the insides of the knees, okay? From here, you begin to cross at the ankles if you haven't already, and you push your heart and your head forward, and you push your arms into your legs. You keep kind of wiggling them forward and back so that you can find yourself through the legs. And then just push and extend through the legs as if you're trying to straighten the legs while maintaining pressure, pressing the arms to the insides of the legs. Now it's possible that you can rock up and roll up. I'm going to stay here for ease of exiting the pose. So exiting it just like we went into it. Undoing the arms, undoing the legs. In plow pose. Letting the hands again come to the back. Finding our shoulder stand. And you can lower down that way, or maybe you slowly roll down piece by piece. Making your way down to the earth. And from here, if there's any sort of neutralizing movement that would be helpful for you, I'd like you to take it. That might mean windshield wipering the shins from side to side. It can be hugging the knees into the chest and then dropping the knees to one side then the other, just like how we started our practice. Maybe you'd like a deep back bend. Whatever closing movements or postures are going to leave your practice feeling really complete before we take Shavasana. I would suggest allowing the body to get nice and long again and take another good morning stretch. I'm just going to give you a heads up here. I am going to leave you in your Shavasana because I want you to take as much time as you possibly can finding and feeling rest. So take your time moving into Shavasana, allowing the body to relax, and trusting that the mind will follow. So getting all of the remaining zaps and zips of energy out. Deciding what positioning of the body, maybe there's props you'd like to use to support yourself in Shavasana. And then allow yourself to take up space. So the legs are apart. The hands are away from the body. Palms can be up. If the palms are up, go ahead and tuck your shoulder blades together beneath you to really broaden and let the thumbs be heavy towards the earth. Let the toes fall out wide. And as you breathe, I'd like you to imagine the air coming in and traveling those natural curves of the spine. So we're doing a spinal breath. So the air comes in, travels the curve of the cervical spine, then down the thoracic, up the lumbar, back down towards the sacrum. And then we follow that same pattern, that same movement of the spine as we exhale and the breath leaves our body. You're welcome to imagine the breath leaving out the crown if you'd like, or out the mouth or nose. Doing the spinal breath, breathing it in, breathing it out. You can imagine it as light, as sensation of vapor. Allow the spinal breath to calm the body, to completely center the mind, or to maybe find an absence of center. Maybe you lose your center, you lose your periphery and boundaries of the body so that you can become spacious. Just a state of awareness in yourself. Until the breath becomes natural, finding its own rhythm. There's no heaviness, there's no lightness. There's just being. And you are resting in that being. Allow my voice just to be in the background. Perhaps reflecting on emotions felt recently during your practice, or maybe over a great span of time. And allow yourself to acknowledge that those feelings come to you, they leave you, but they do not become you. You are not those emotions. You are so much more. Perhaps thinking of emotions that you'd like to feel today, that you'd like to feel after your practice or even now. And begin welcoming those feelings now as a felt sense in the body. Allowing yourself to rest in these feelings. Thank you so much for letting me be part of your practice today. Namaste.